Logos are an essential part of our everyday lives, often going unnoticed because they are so deeply embedded in our surroundings. From the brands we wear to the websites we visit, logos serve as instant identifiers. They convey messages, values, and even emotions through simple shapes, colors, and typography. But the concept of using symbols to represent identity is far from modern. It dates back thousands of years, when early civilizations relied on visual representations to communicate power, authority, and affiliation. Over time, these symbols evolved in complexity and meaning, becoming crucial tools for recognition and trust. In the modern era, logos have become more than just corporate marks. They represent entire cultures, movements, and lifestyles. Their evolution mirrors our own history of communication and design, shifting from crude etchings to sleek digital icons. As society and technology have advanced, so too have the expectations for how logos function and resonate. The origins of logo design can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where visual symbols were used to convey identity, ownership, and authority. In ancient Egypt, hieroglyphics weren't just a form of written communication. They were also symbolic representations of deities, royalty, and spiritual concepts. These images were powerful and instantly recognizable, functioning much like modern logos do today. Similarly, Mesopotamian cultures used cylinder seals to imprint designs onto clay tablets, marking ownership or authorship in business transactions. In ancient Greece and Rome, emblems and insignias were widely used on coins, shields, and official buildings, serving as visual representations of rulers, cities, or military units. These early logos had a clear purpose: to create a consistent and memorable visual identity. Over time, these symbols began to carry deeper meanings, associating power, prestige, and values with the images they represented. They laid the foundation for what would eventually become branding as we know it during the Middle Ages. The use of visual symbols to represent identity and authority continued to evolve through heraldry and merchant guilds. Nobles, knights, and royal families adopted coats of arms, intricately designed emblems that signified lineage, status, and allegiance. These designs were often displayed on shields, flags, and armor, allowing soldiers to identify allies and enemies on the battlefield. Each element of a heraldic crest had symbolic meaning, from colors to animals and geometric shapes, creating a complex visual language. Simultaneously, craft guilds and merchants began using unique symbols to mark their goods, establishing a sense of trust and consistency for buyers. These marks functioned like trademarks, indicating the origin and quality of a product. As trade expanded across cities and regions, these visual identifiers became increasingly important. They not only helped distinguish one craftsman from another, but also laid the groundwork for using logos as tools of economic recognition and brand loyalty. The Industrial Revolution marked a major turning point in the history of logo design, as mass production and expanded markets created a pressing need for businesses to distinguish their products. With goods being manufactured and distributed at unprecedented scales, companies sought visual marks that could instantly communicate trust, quality, and identity to a growing consumer base. One of the earliest and most notable examples is the red triangle of base ale, which became the first trademarked logo in 1876. As competition increased, companies began to realize the value of having a consistent, recognizable symbol that could be printed on packaging, signage, and advertisements. Logos evolved from decorative symbols into strategic branding tools. Simplicity and memorability became essential qualities, ensuring that even in crowded marketplaces, a brand could stand out. Designers started paying close attention to typography, shape, and color, crafting logos that were both visually striking and easy to reproduce across various forms of media. The 20th century brought a dramatic rise in the importance of logos as companies began to build global identities through branding. With the expansion of mass media, radio, television, and print advertising, logos became central to how businesses presented themselves to the world. Brands like Coca-Cola, with its flowing Spencerian script, became instantly recognizable across continents. Designers such as Paul Rand helped revolutionize the field by creating logos that were not only visually appealing, but also conceptually strong, as seen in his work for IBM and ABC. This era saw the birth of some of the most iconic logos of all time, including Nike's swoosh, which was created in 1971 and symbolized motion and athleticism with a simple yet powerful stroke. Logos began to represent more than just products. They conveyed emotion, lifestyle, and philosophy. The focus shifted toward creating timeless designs that could withstand trends and build long-term recognition and loyalty. As the world entered the digital age, logo design had to adapt to rapidly changing technologies and new ways of interacting with brands. With the rise of websites, mobile apps, and social media, logos were no longer limited to packaging and billboards. They had to look good on screens of all sizes, from desktop monitors to smartphone icons. This shift led to the rise of minimalist and flat design, stripping away shadows, gradients, and complex details in favor of clean, scalable visuals that performed well in digital environments. Brands like Google, Airbnb, and Instagram embraced this trend, updating their logos to be more versatile and screen-friendly. Another innovation was the responsive logo, a design that could transform or simplify itself depending on the device or platform. Motion design also gained traction, allowing logos to animate subtly in digital spaces, adding an extra layer of interaction and memorability without compromising clarity or meaning. Looking toward the future, logo design continues to evolve alongside advancements in technology and shifts in cultural expectations. Artificial intelligence and generative design tools are beginning to influence how logos are created, allowing for data-driven customization and real-time adaptability. Brands are exploring dynamic logos, designs that can change in shape, color, or layout depending on context, audience, or platform. Personalization is becoming a key trend, with logos adapting to reflect user behavior or preferences, creating a more tailored experience. At the same time, there is a growing demand for authenticity, sustainability, and inclusivity in design. Logos are expected to do more than just represent a company. They must align with values and connect emotionally with audiences. The balance between innovation and timelessness remains crucial as designers seek to create logos that are both forward-thinking and rooted in strong visual identity principles. As branding becomes increasingly immersive and interactive, the role of the logo remains central.